Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is MTG GhoulDude, and today I wanted to show you and bring you guys my completed Assassin's Creed based commander deck that I had been trying my best to try and, filter. I was really trying to work really hard on this one. So I decided to go with Ezio da Firenze. It is, if you don't know, this is a 1 and a black 3/2 legendary creature human assassin with menace. Assassin spells you have cast have free running, which is if you attack with your commander or an assassin, all of your spells cost black, black. And whenever you do a combat damage to a player, you may pay Wooburg. If that player has 10 or less life, when you do, that player loses the game. I don't have a lot of those combo pieces that you might would see in an Ezio deck. I just kind of went with the theme of using all of the best Assassin's Creed cards for this deck. So before we get into the mana ramp section, I wanted to go on ahead and throw in some of the pieces that were most tied to Ezio, like the Brotherhood Regalia and the Hook Blade that are tied specifically to Ezio. And now we're going to get into the mana ramp of the deck. And for the mana rocks, I wanted to try and use the ones that looked the most out there, the ones that looked the most invention-y. So I went with specific arts like the one for the Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone. Mind Stone looks great. Kind of reminds me of the apple, like it's breaking apart. Liquid Metal Torque. Oh, Chromatic Lantern. Chromatic Orrery. That one looks pretty wild. Farseek. Rampant Growth. Nature's Lore. And Viewpoint Synchronization. Because we need to find lands, but we need to make sure they're the right color land. So Viewpoint Synchronization is really good. It's a better Kodamas Reach because you get an extra land if you need it. So now we're going to move into our main theme of the deck, the creatures and some of the artifacts that will go into the deck. Starting off with our Adrestia, which it becomes an assassin and draws us a card, so that definitely helps. Island Walk, that could be pretty relevant later on. Assassin Initiate, and these are the non-legendary creatures that I'll be showing off first. Assassin Initiate and Loyal Inventor. And now we're going to get into the historic theme of the deck. Starting off with Altair, which is a great later on piece. If you can keep consistently exiling creatures with memory counters on them, if you can't get them back, which we do have a way to start getting all of our assassins back if it gets bad enough. Arbaz. Arno is great because it buffs all of our assassins. Aveline is great if we can get all of our assassins to have death touch. Aya is going to help make us some tokens whenever our creatures hit. Basim does a little bit of card draw, and he gets a little bigger. Bayek is going to give our creatures double strike, so those abilities that trigger when they deal combat damage are going to trigger twice, which is really great. Evie Fry does a little bit of card advantage with draw and discard, and then Jacob is going to help us play some of those cards back again. Ezio is kind of just in there because he's Ezio. I mean, it's the younger Ezio. Then we have the Kelsian the Plague. He's kind of just in here because he has the name Altair, Brotherhood Mentor. But he does provide a slight removal theme. He gets in there. And he'll get bigger later on. Mary the Killing Quill this is kind of where I went off the rails because I wanted to make sure all of my assassins had death touch, and it's for the card draw too. Amunet, who is Queen Marchesa, will help us become the monarch, and her assassins she makes is going to help us keep the monarch. Basim, the master assassin, the reskin of Ramses Assassin Lord, is gonna buff all of our assassins, and he himself has death touch, and he has the important place in the deck for being, say we hit somebody with our Ezio and Ezio de Firenze, and we kill them, and we use his ability when they're right at the end of their life to remove them from the game. Well, because Basim is the copies of Ramses, whenever a player loses the game, if they were attacked this turn by an assassin you controlled, you win the game. So it's essentially a 1-2 win. You deal the damage, you pay the mana, and you win the game. If you were able to do that. And finally, we have Connor. I'm a Native American, and I hate it, but I cannot say that name. And I mean, I've heard his name a bunch of different times, but it does not look like it. It's horrible to me. I'm sorry. I'll just call him Connor. And finally, Shay Cormac, which is actually he's actually pretty good in this deck, especially since we're doing with bounty counters at least twice. Or no, those are hit counters on Mari. But then we have a few theme cards. We got Smoke Bomb, which gives all of your creatures shroud, which is pretty good. Cover of Darkness is going to help us get our assassins through so we can trigger all those abilities. I'm trying out behind the scenes because it does allow our smaller creatures to get by bigger creatures. And then later on, it is an anthem that we can pay into. Origin of the Hidden Ones is a little bit of removal, a little bit of token creation, and the very last one is whenever an assassin you control attacks a turn, create an assassin. So, which is still pretty good. And the bleeding effect, because we do have a various amount of different excuse me. We do have a various amount of abilities in the graveyard at any point in time. So, if we have bleeding effect out, we can start giving all of our creatures the different abilities of cards. And now we do have a slight equipment package, ones that do have some abilities, like the Assassin Gauntlet. It taps all target all creatures opponent controls. That's actually pretty good. That'll help us get our creatures through. And it gets +1/+1 and has whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card and then discard a card. A little bit of card filtering. Head Splitter is going to make an assassin attached to it. Phantom Blade is going to destroy a creature. So, that's pretty good. Hidden Foot Blade gives a creature first strike, and if they already have death touch, guess what? That's a dead creature. Hunter's Bow is another piece of removal, so to speak. That creature deals damage equal to its power to up to one target creature you don't control. That's pretty wild. And because it attaches, so you could attach it to your biggest creature, and voila, that's a kill spell. And finally, for the equipment package, we do have the Hidden Blade. I got 2 of these. I was really excited to try and build around Bayek, but 'twas not meant to be. So a little bit of our card advantage besides the creatures that we have in the 99. We do want to try and bring them all back. So we're gonna Primeval's Glorious Rebirth. Return all of our legendary permanent cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. I know a Reconstruct History to get at least it's just all the stuff back. Coastal Piracy is going to help us draw some more cards when we deal some more damage. Eagle Vision, had to put it in there. Every assassin, every good assassin had it. And it draws cards. Black Market Connections is probably going to be the death of me to most games because I am not responsible enough to just not not get everything. Cathartic Reunion is going to help us reuse our cards in the graveyard later on. If we can get Jacob out, we can start casting assassins again. And then finally, for the card advantage, we have the Crystal Skull Isu Spyglass, which allows us to go on ahead and cast all of our artifacts, legendaries, and sagas from the top of our library. And it's a mana rock. It's a 3-drop mana rock, but it's still a mana rock. So now getting into the removal of the deck, we have Path to Exile. What must be done is a good board wipe. You know, whenever you're needing to wipe the slate clean. Propaganda is gonna it's more of interaction than removal, but and it keeps players from attacking you, so they got to interact with it too. Counterspell, Fierce Guardianship to help protect if our commander is out. Desynchronization is also like another board wipe if you're not running into another historic deck. But I feel like this will show that it's not as good as everybody thinks it is, because I mean, return all non-land permanents that's not historic to its owner's hand. Ugh. I mean, you could just see from the deck that it's a historic built deck, and we do have artifact only decks, and we do have legendary tribal, stuff like that. And I just feel like later on down the line, desynchronization will be not as good as everybody thinks it is, because legendaries are just popping up everywhere. Go for the throat. Murder. We gotta have a little bit of that. Overpowering attack is going to be good if we're already doing double strike damage and all the other great stuff. And we can do it again. Maybe take a player out. Assassin's Trophy. Terminate. And Mortify. So let's air this out a little bit. We have quite a few non-basic lands to get through. First of all being the Brotherhood's headquarters, because you gotta put a headquarters in there. No. Come back. Don't run away. I had to put a Path of Ancestry in there because it is pretty good. 1 mana of any color of your commander's color identity. Color identity would be Wooburg. So, I mean, we're tapping for all 5 colors. No, that wouldn't be correct. That would be just black. But still, allows us to tap for black. Command Tower is going to help us tap for multiple colors. So is Mana Confluence, City of Brass. Secluded Courtyard is going to do some work because we're going to name Assassin with this. And as long as we can keep drawing, all those great cards, we can keep going. Boseiju, because we do have the Spyglass, this will allow us to, play them off the top of our library if we're missing land drops. Auditore, the same thing, and plus the channel ability is pretty good. Takanuma is alright. I mean, the mill to bring back later, that's pretty good. No, come back. I did want to put an Urborg in the deck because it is, it does rely on having black mana to free cast, to do the free running cost. So the Urborg is in there. And then we have the small suite of shock lands to help, push the deck along with Steam Vents, Hollowed Fountain, Sacred Foundry, Temple Garden, Godless Shrine, Overgrown Tomb, Breeding Pool, Watery Grave, and the Blood Crypt. And we do have this suite of Assassin's Creed lands in the 99, a bunch of swamps, as you can tell. But that is going to be it for today. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I will have the deck list in the description of the video. But that is going to be it, and I'll see you guys next time in the graveyard.